In this video, I want to address the folks of Africa, the people of Africa. And I've traveled Africa extensively over the years. I've been in many, many African countries. And I've observed a couple of things that I would like to share with you. And I think that as I'm sharing this, a lot of the things you might identify with, some of the things might offend you. And the purpose is not to offend you, really. And please don't blame it on racism or something like that. It's got nothing to do with that. But I do believe there's a couple of insights that I've gained over the years in traveling Africa, in working with a lot of people from Africa. And I want to speak about leadership. I want to speak about governance. I want to speak about politics. So here we go. When it comes to African leadership, and I do understand the tribal concept, all right? It's very different from the West. I have respect for that, and I value that highly. I think in many aspects there are really great things that we can learn from Africa when it comes to community living, etc. Now, when it comes to politics and leadership, especially in Africa, it's as if sometimes there's a lack of moving forward and having a desire to grow, to have greater insight, understanding, and to have the best will of the people at heart. I look at a lot of governments across Africa, how many of them are involved in coups, and I know there are some external factors in that. Please, I'm not ignorant with regards to that. But in general, when I look at African leadership, I find that very often there's a lack of drive, there's a lack of real compassion for their people. And of course, we find that in the West as well. But when people come with concept, with ideas, instead of learning, instead of progressing, instead of moving forward, very often it is seen as a threat and something that needs to be resisted. And therefore, I think Africa sometimes gets stuck in a way of doing things, and you don't see a lot of progress. Now, I recently did a video about Burkina Faso and what is happening there. Tremendous progress that we're seeing in that country, but it's because there's a different approach to leadership. The new president, Ibrahim Traoré, is making great progress in building and developing his country. And I've listened to a lot of his speeches where he's talking. I've seen some of the meetings that he's meeting with international leaders, etc. And I have to say, I think there's something that a lot of African leaders can learn from this young man. Very often in Africa, you see leaders, politicians being in power for years and years and years. And very often you find that a lot of them, they don't build anything. It's almost that there's more a consumer mentality and a desire to stay in power, but it doesn't benefit the people. The thing about leadership is all about developing other people to become better, even than yourself. All right. And I see that lacking very often in African leadership. I can also understand why this is the case, because very often leaders feel threatened by upcoming people, especially the younger generations, that's got innovative ideas, that are playing around with concepts and principles, and that's got a vision that differs from the